I have a feeling that the Warriors managed to game the system without anyone really noticing it. In the spring of 2019, the Warriors played a game and started Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, and DeMarcus Cousins. However, just a few months later, they started these same players in an early season game to open the next NBA season. When I think about what happened to a team that had reached the NBA Finals in each of the previous 5 seasons, it still makes me feel downcast. Damn it. After that, they went on to win 15 games, and then, yeah. Now that we've reached this moment in the history of the Warriors franchise, I can't help but reflect on how this turned out to be possibly one of the most significant blessings in disguise for the entire franchise. Look, I can only imagine how Steph, Klay, Draymond, the rest of the Warriors organization, and their supporters felt knowing that their team had so suddenly become the laughingstock of the NBA with the flick of a finger, and all I can do is try to put myself in their shoes. And the more I think about it, the more I find it hard to believe that this was the same franchise that went 16-1 in the postseason and was on their way to an NBA title 2 seasons earlier, and that this was the same franchise that went 16-1 in the postseason, that humiliated LeBron James and the Cavaliers by sweeping them in the 2018 NBA Finals and claiming the championship. If it were a team from some high school competing against professionals. However, as the old adage goes, difficult times don't persist as long as difficult people or difficult businesses do. After suffering through a disappointing 2019 to 2020 campaign, the Warriors were rewarded with a second overall choice in the next year's NBA draft. For a club that dominated the league for the previous 5 seasons in a row, having the second pick in the draft could be considered somewhat embarrassing. But believe me when I say that things are only going to get better from here on out. The Warriors were aware that the eventual returns of Klay Thompson and, most importantly, Steph Curry were only a matter of time. Because of this, recruiting an additional guard was not an option at any point. In addition, the Warriors were able to maintain control of their wing play since they acquired Andrew Wiggins before the trade deadline. A dominant big man on the block was the one thing or one prototypical player that the Warriors had been lacking throughout all of their years of success. If there was one thing or one prototypical player that the Warriors had been missing, it was this. When an injured but still talented DeMarcus Cousins played for the Warriors in 2019, we got a peek of how lethal the Warriors could be with a superstar big man who can play down low. This gave us a preview of how the Warriors could be with Cousins. At the time, there was really no question as to which big would be selected first in the NBA draft for the year 2020. Wiseman possesses a rare combination of elegance, size, speed, and athleticism, making him a player who is capable of playing all 3 positions on the court. Because of his ability to handle the ball despite being 7 feet tall, he played well in college with his back to the hoop and even when he was close to the perimeter of the court. Now let me be clear that I am not implying that he is capable of handling the rock in the same manner as Kevin Durant or shooting the ball in the same manner as Dirk. In fact, nothing could be further from the truth. However, for a teenager who is 7 feet tall and has the potential to be a superstar, James Wiseman's game has a great deal of admirable qualities. When it comes to this draft, the Warriors truly didn't have much room for error. Since everyone agreed that Wiseman was the most promising big prospect currently available, the Warriors decided to take everyone else at their word and sign him. At least that was the notion before Klay tore his Achilles a few months later. Aside from the big 3 who was going to come back healthy, therefore it would be wonderful if Wiseman got famous straight away. You now have an outstanding pick-and-roll partner in Steph, and you can take advantage of this. Even if he doesn't work out, you still have to deal with Draymond and the Splash Brothers. On the other hand, I believe it's fair to say that Wiseman made an impression right away. Even though he may not have been awarded Rookie of the Year for that season, his play showed that he was deserving of a high draft pick. It's hard to look beyond a player who averages 11.5 points and rebounds per game while also blocking shots. In addition to this, he broke the record for youngest player in the history of the franchise to score at least 25 points in a game and also made all 3 of his 3-point attempts. Don't give him the opportunity to start hitting threes because if he does, we'll have to start talking. The problem is that he hasn't been healthy for the better part of his career, so we haven't seen him play in over a year and a half. His career has been plagued by injuries. And I'm not just talking about the NBA here. I mean during his whole career, which began in 2019 when he graduated high school. Wiseman has only played in a total of 42 games that count for a basketball championship. It is simply not enough time for anyone to come to a conclusion about Wiseman and the role that he plays in the Warriors, despite the fact that he has already demonstrated his extraordinary talents in the short amount of time that he has been available. Because of a variety of factors, he was only able to participate in 39 games during his debut season. However, he was forced to miss a significant portion of the season as a result of early wrist and knee injuries that he sustained. The wrist injury forced him to miss at least a month of the season, while the knee injury prevented him from ever truly settling comfortably into his role on the court. And then the final nail in the coffin for Wiseman's rookie season was when he tried going over Christian Wood for a poster, but he landed awkwardly and tore his meniscus. This was the moment that effectively ended his rookie season. During the previous year, Wiseman participated in a few summer league games here and there, but otherwise he took the summer off. Since Steph remarked, "Y'all want to see us next year," he hasn't played in a game that matters, and we haven't seen him suit up since about that time. Wiseman did not play in any games the following year, and because Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins surprised everyone by breaking into the starting lineup for the Warriors, I think a lot of us forgot all about Wiseman, despite the fact that he is a skilled 7-footer who can take the Warriors to 2 new heights. Speaking of the next season, Wiseman played in 0 games. I am not saying that he will have an impact like Shaq did in Orlando or like Tim Duncan did in San Antonio, but just going strictly off of potential, how can you not like the thought of Wiseman joining the rest of the Warriors at the 5 spot and giving the team a new spirit on both sides of the ball? I am not saying that he will have an impact like Shaq did in Orlando or like Tim Duncan did in San Antonio. I have mentioned them briefly in the past, but I believe it's finally time to hammer this point home. The Warriors have never had a big man on their roster who could provide them with much of anything on an offensive level on a consistent basis during their 8 years of supremacy in the NBA. This has prevented them from having a constant source of offensive production. It's a good thing we never had a paint-dominating big down in the lane guys, because Steph would have taken his game to an entirely new level if defenders were forced to focus some of their attention on the Warriors' big down low. Steph would have revolutionized the game of basketball. Even though Wiseman still has a long way to go before we can start calling him a star or a legitimate playmaker, he provides the Warriors with the best opportunity to feature a dynamic 5-man offense and provide the ultimate rim protection that the Warriors have been lacking ever since Andrew Bogut left them in 2016. Wiseman gives the Warriors the best chance to feature a dynamic 5-man offense. Kevin Looney, Bogut, JaVale McGee, and even Zaza Pachulia were all good additions to the Warriors throughout the years, but did any of those men have the complete package that Wiseman does? In no possible way could this be possible. Does the addition of Wiseman provide the Warriors a chance to become preeminent inside the paint while also gaining a big man who can play on the perimeter, knock down jumpers from beyond the arc, and protect the rim? Without a doubt, he does. And despite the fact that the Warriors' small ball lineup appeared for significant portions of both the regular season and the postseason to be the most dynamic 5 players in the NBA. Sometimes I find myself imagining how much better this team would be if they had a player who they could count on to score 15 points per game and also to block shots. If James Wiseman had been in good health for the Warriors during the previous campaign, things would have turned out very differently. But the 2022 season is coming up quickly, and we will at last have the chance to watch Wiseman play, possibly beginning with Game 1 of the season. Let's just say that I have a positive outlook on the Warriors' chances of winning the championship if he returns to the court looking as good as the player he did 2 years ago, or even better.